Welcome to another episode of Behind the Blindz. And I just realized in the first 3 episodes, I really didn't introduce myself. So, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Zoe. It's just Zoe, not Zoe, not zebra, zygote, or xylophone. It's just Zoe. And if you are returning here, you know how we do. But if you're new to the channel, I hope you get what you're looking for. So thank you all for joining me. Let's go ahead and bring it in. Bring it in, pound it. Y'all better hit the screen. Pound team on 3. 1, 2, 3, and break. All right. So on this episode, we got a really crazy one here. This one is entitled The Cross-Dressing Canadian Colonel. And he did a little more than cross-dressing. But we're going to get into that. So stay tuned. Cue the theme music. I still didn't do the theme music. But it's coming. I promise. It's coming. A highly respected Canadian military colonel piloted for the Queen of England. Apparently, he was second in command to the Prime Minister. Very high up the ranks of the Canadian military. But how does one go from being at the top of the pyramid to the bottom of a bunkie? This is a case that takes... I would have never seen this coming. He was such a good guy. Yes, that face. To a whole nother level. So let's open the shutters, draw the curtains, and be nosy one more time as we travel to where the moose run loose on this episode of Behind the Blindz. We strive to present these stories with the utmost respect for the victims and their families. Our information is found on the public domain and is used for entertainment purposes only. For more information about our disclaimer, please go down to that description box below. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and meet me in the comments. So, Russell Williams was a highly decorated colonel in the Royal Canadian Air Force. Shout out to my Air Force. Beginning his career in 1987. He was born in Worcestershire. He was born in that W city that we all have a hard time pronouncing, and I know I'm not the only one. Worcestershire. Y'all know I'll slaughter a word. I tell y'all that in every video. Let's just move along. Worcestershire, England, in 1963. He went on to study economics and politics, graduating with a BA in the arts before embarking on his military career. He was an elite pilot and had flown, I'm going to read this, Queen Elizabeth, yeah, the Queen, the Duke of Edinburgh, the Governor General of Canada, the Prime Minister of Canada, and many other high-profile dignitaries. I mean, he was doing the do. He was flying the flu. He was flying the few while doing the do. You see what I did there? I did that. That was good. In his 23-year career, he rose up the ranks, becoming colonel in 2009, where he was the wing commander at Base Trenton. I know a little bit about Trenton. I know about Trenton, New Jersey. Those are two different Trentons. Which was the base where the remains of Canadian troops that were KIA'd during Afghanistan, that's where they would return before transitioning to their final rest. So on a serious note, let's take a moment out for all our troops that we lost during that time. All right. So salute to all my troops that's out there, past, present, and future. So a year later, he would be facing a double unaliving charge. All right, so let's get into it. Let's see what we got going on here. So the victim that opened this case is Jessica Lloyd. She was 27 and disappeared from her home on January 28th of 2010. And let's paint this picture really quick. We're talking about January, Canada, two things I can think of: a moose and snow. Snow. You can't commit crimes in Canada in January. Because what's going to be there? Tire prints, shoe prints. And that's exactly what they found. In the snow, they noticed clear tire tracks and foot impressions. The Ontario Provincial Police, OPP. You down with OPP? Yeah, you know me. Who's down with OPP? Everybody. But this is not the OPP that everybody's down with, because this is the other people's police. Okay, this is other people's police department. And I don't think Naughty by Nature would be down with the popo. So on February 4th, the Canadian police decide, okay, let's canvass this area. We're going to set up a roadblock and look for these distinct tire impressions and shoe imprints. Okay? Now, old Russ actually owns a BMW. That was his main mode of transportation. But on this day, he pulled out the Pathfinder. And I'm going to guess why he pulled out the Pathfinder. It's snow. This is Canada. You got to have a 4-wheel drive. There's chains. You better have some chains in the trunk. De-icer. You want some de-icer. Solar panels and your tire flaps. I mean, I don't know. Anything that you could do to just get on to where you're trying to get. As Russ was coming up to the roadblock, they stopped him. And, you know, at first he was very respectful. They was like, oh, okay, well, yes, sir, do-do-do. You know, thinking he was, you know, high-ranking colonel and was making it do what it do, baby. Then they looked at his tires and was like, oh, this looks familiar. They marked that down and was like, okay, let's call him in. On February 7th, the OPP called his HOME. You see what I did there? That was good. That was good. So the OPP called the HOME and said, hey, Russ, we need you to come on down. Come on down here, big fella. So Russ gets on down to the precinct. Within 4 hours of arriving, once the OPP, the POPO, showed him the evidence. Let's not take away, I forgot to mention this. He also had the boots on. He had the boots on. So not only did they have the tire impression, he didn't get rid of the boots. Now, I may not be the smartest person. If you out here committing crimes, I thought the first thing you're going to do is get rid of the evidence. Rip them tires off, melt them. I know that's hard to do in Canada because it's probably cold. Can't get fires to start. Melt them somewhere. Throw them boots. Get them boots going too. You know what I mean? These boots are made for walking. They should have been walked down to the trash can. Okay? But he didn't. He had the boots on and he had the tire boots on the Pathfinder. Boots got his buns loose. That sounded better in my head, but I just really went off on the word boots because I really just like hearing myself say boots. On February, okay, let's proceed. So 4 hours after arriving, once they showed him all of this evidence, which was the tire impression and the boots impressions, he started spilling the tea, the beans, and the sunflower seeds. As he said, all right, you got me, varmint. You know, he knew he was caught. He sat there and confessed to dozens of crimes, multiple essays, B&Es, and I ain't talking about bacon and eggs, because I love me some bacon and eggs, and unalivings, close to where he had lived with his wife. Then told them where they could find the evidence. This would include pictures that he had taken. So he was a keepsaker. He would take dozens of pictures at the crime scenes. But we're not done yet. He would take pictures of not only the victims doing things that he wanted them to do. He would then, if it was a B&E or an essays, he would put on their lingerie and their undergarments and then take pictures of himself in the undergarments. Military, this is a colonel. This is a colonel. And these pictures would include him taking pictures of the victims, him putting on their undergarments and taking pictures of himself wearing said undergarments, videos of the victims, the assaults, and the unalivings, and much more. Looking at these pictures, the colonel thought he was what we would say here in the US, that he was a bad bitch. Excuse my language. Excuse my language. I know I don't do profanity, but that's what he thought he was. Now, his charges include bacon and eggs, breaking and entering, forcible confinement, sassing, so assaulting with the S in front of it. They also begin looking into other cases involving bacon and eggs at other locations he was stationed at throughout his entire military career. And they noticed that there were dozens of cases of women reporting their undergarments missing going back to 2006. But I'm putting my money on, I don't think he just woke up. Dang. Woke up. I'm putting my money on, I don't think he just woke up one day, 2 years earlier and was like, oh, I'm going to start doing this. He was, search the laptop. I'm sure he was looking at some hardcore stuff on them internet browsers for a very long time. And then his urges escalated. In April of 2010, after they put the shackles on his feet so he can dance, he attempted to unalive himself, but failed. So from that, they put him on beware of self-unaliver watch. Beware of self-unaliver watch. Trying to come up with this stuff so that, I can get monetized is tough. I'm trying to work through some things. They put him on beware of self-unaliving watch. Y'all should know what that means. On October 18th, 2010, he just pled guilty to all charges. So let's get into the charges a little bit. He was still in the undergarments of little girls. According to the Wikipedia article, and yes, I know this is updated by the public, he made 82 fetish-related home invasions and attempted bacon and eggs from 2007 to 2009. Once the thrill of the breaking and eggs, the B&Es, stopped working, he started to sass, which is assault with an S in front of it. Then eventually moving to forcefully taken sasses, assaults with the S in front of it, and then unalivings. He took thousands of pictures of him wearing ladies' panties and posing in their beds. In 2008, he broke into a home and self-pleasured himself all over a child's room. Apparently, he would take his pictures in order. First, the bedroom, so a picture of the clear room. Then a picture of the undergarments laid out. And then he would take a picture of himself wearing them. The first documented victim in September 2007 was his neighbor. A neighbor that he was friends with. They would go fishing and have barbecues together. And, he broke in and self-pleasured himself while holding undergarments of the neighbor's teenage daughter. Y'all better watch y'all kids around people, especially your little girls, because you don't know these people. You don't know them. And I mean, these transcripts go in depth. If you go to the Red Rumpedia page, if y'all reverse Red Rum, you know what you get. Red Rumpedia page, the whole police video transcript is there, so you can read through everything that happened. And they really go in depth. I couldn't even write it all down. Once he was convicted, he was kicked out of the armed forces, of course, stripped of his military decorations. And after being returned to the military, his uniforms were then burned and his medals were cut up and used as scrap. He was sentenced to 2 life terms for the brutal unalivings of Corporal Marie France and Jessica Lloyd. 10 years for 2 charges of assassin, 1 year for each of the other 82 charges. He can never possess a weapon, must register as an S offender, must submit DNA, and pay a victim charge of $100 for each charge, totaling $8,800. Now that last bit, he got off. $8,800, $100. You done did all this to me and all I'm getting is $100 and then y'all gonna tax it? I still don't think that's enough. That's not enough. I mean, even in Canada, you get healthcare and school. Canada's all right with me. Canadians, y'all are all right with me. The prosecutor spoke about how the corporal was blindfolded and bloodied, but still tried to fight for her life. He recorded the brutal attack so that he can relive it at will. He had promised Jessica that he would not unalive her if she cooperated, but that was a lie. He was quoted as saying, "David Russell Williams is simply one of the worst offenders in Canadian history." I'm just going to have to agree on that. This case clearly shows that it can and will escalate. He started with the bacon and eggs, then went to essays, and before you know it, now here we are at the unalivings. You all know how we get down. I got questions. What would make him throw it all away? You're a high-ranking colonel. You are the pilot. Piloted the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth. You up there with the Prime Minister, tea and crumpets. What would make you throw it all away? Did you think you was untouchable? Is that what it was? You thought you was untouchable. You thought you had the power. Do you all think it was because he got away with it once or twice? Or how long was he getting away with it before he got sloppy? January with the snow and didn't get rid of them boots. What satisfaction did he get from wearing the women's undergarments? I mean, if you want to be a cross-dresser, just cross-dress. Going down to Victoria's Secret is a little expensive. Victoria's Secret a little expensive. But go on down there and get your own undergarments. Or was it the thrill of wearing somebody else's used undergarments? Do you know that there are women, you can go to some sites and purchase used women's undergarments? Did the wife know? Let's talk about the wife. Did she know? Let me tell y'all something. Your wife's know. Your wife's know. I'm not saying she knew it all. But you know what? She probably the one that alerted the police to set up the roadblock because he was about to come home and she knew she was about to get everything. She probably tipped him off and said, "Set up here, he on his way. You gonna get him, he's driving a truck and he got the boots on." Wives know. You know, Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high. Do your wife dirty, none worse than a woman scorned. When you go low, they go to hell. I don't know, I wouldn't put it past her. And I ain't saying she knew, because some women may not have that intuition. What's going on with the wife? Those are the questions that we have. So go ahead and comment with your thoughts down below. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you already haven't. I sincerely thank you all for tuning in. And remember, be kind. Always rewind. And I will catch you on the next episode of your favorite YouTube channel, Behind the Blindz.